He said, I went to school, he says, in Coolard. And I said, did you? And he said, yeah. And he said, did you go to school in Coolard? And I said, yeah, I went to school in Coolard. And you know, when I heard that this centenary celebration was on, and when I was asked to come here and so on, I thought immediately of my friend O'Connor in Battersea, and his 2 or 3 years experience of his schooling in Coolard. And then I said to myself, aren't there many, many more scattered all over the world who also spent some of their time, of their lives, in this building where we're all gathered here today. And many people have passed through this place. They have come here, and they have stayed here for a while, and they have moved on into the bigger world, and many of them too have moved on into the eternal world. And as I said at the beginning, I am one of them. And today I am very conscious of the fact that I am one of them. And I'm sure that many of you here too, all of you in fact, can identify with me when I say that in some way a part of me was made in this place. I have no memories whatever of the day I came here. And believe it or not, I have no memories either of the day I left it. But I have lots of memories of what went on while I was here. Many of them indeed. And again, I suppose in a day like today, all of us here will remember some of the things that happened while we were here. I remember in particular, of course, the teachers, whom I have named already. My mother, who taught me in the junior classes, and Vincent Dillon, who taught me in the senior classes. I also remember, of course, the other teachers who taught in the girls' school, and those mysterious creatures called girls who were across the wall. You know, and in the days before co-education, you know, and we weren't allowed even to look over the wall. But that was part of it. I remember the classes, of course, and what went on in class, and the teaching, and what we were taught. I remember also the games that we played out here in the yard, in all the muck and the puddle and the wet, right? Some of you will remember that, I'm sure. Obviously, I remember some of the funny and amusing things that happened, and the serious things that went on, the things that we were anxious about and fearful about, and so on. I remember the little triumphs and the disappointments and the failures and the laughter and the tears as well, because those were the days when the cane was used. And when we left here, we went out into the broader world where we met again people. We had to live with people like we had to do here. We have to work, we had to play. And as we went through life, all of us, no matter where we were, there were differences of opinion, there were successes and failures, there were amusing incidents and situations, there were the serious ones, and the struggles of life and so on. There were the fears and the anxieties of living, the rejoicing, the joys and the sorrows and the disappointments and what have you. And now when I look back over it, and isn't this true, and I think you will agree with me, that all of what I have mentioned about life and about people and all the ups and downs that we met afterwards, all of us, when we entered adult life, wasn't all that going on here as well, in a small little way, even though we didn't realize it. And today, I think that what we do here, those of us who have left this school behind us, what we are doing actually, I think, is identifying and recognizing what was really going on in this place, what was really happening to us in the years that we were here, what was being done for us and what was being done to us as we came here together every day to meet as fellow pupils and with our teachers. In fact, I think to sum it up, what was going on here it was that we were all of us, each one of us, were being introduced to life, being introduced to the world around us. We were beginning to realize and to get to know what it was like to live a human life with other human beings in a human world.
No, You ready, gentlemen?
Yeah. Okay, very ready.
Now, watch carefully, gentlemen. Watch very carefully. Here we are. Look.
Somebody look at me serious. Mike is going.
Now, this school here where we are was built in 1873. Now that's 110 years ago, and it has now come to the end of its time. But it wasn't the first school that was here. We go back even 200 years ago, there was a school here. Now the person who had the first school here that we know of was a man called Padraig Leo O'Crohur, which means Grey Patrick O'Connor. Why he was called that, I don't know, perhaps Now, the school he had here was known as a classical school. Remember, this is 200 years ago. And in that school, Latin and Greek were the principal subjects being taught. As well as Latin and Greek, Irish, of course, was taught here. And even maybe English, but not very much English. Now, as well as being a teacher, this man, Padraig Leo O'Crohur, he was a poet. And many poets from all over the district came here to learn from him. They came to learn all about writing poetry. They came to exchange poems and to study under him. And a school like that, where they learned poetry, was called a bardic school. Now, we know that school was here about 200 years ago. It was entirely different maybe to the idea of a school that we have today. The walls were probably built of mud, and the roof was thatched, and it was probably only one room, and certainly wasn't very comfortable. Now, this man, Padraig Leo O'Crohur, he was born around 1745, and he died here in Lisselton in 1820. And he's buried in a graveyard down there. But I don't think anybody knows exactly where he's buried. Now, when he died, the school continued after him, the classical school where Latin and Greek were taught. And it was continued by two brothers who had been pupils of his here. Two Sheehan's were their names. Now, that school was here in 1835. Now, this school was built in 1873. And 1873 is 110 years ago. It was around only 26 years since the famine when the school was built. It was only about 26 years since Daniel O'Connell died. It was 2 years before Parnell was elected a member of Parliament. And it was only 6 years before the Land League, or 6 years after that, the Land League was formed. So it's a very old building. Now, I'm sure if it could talk, it would have an awful lot of stories to tell. To tell stories about all sorts of things that may have happened here. And all your parents came to school here. And I'm sure they have told you stories about what it was like when they were coming to school. Anybody hear their parents tell them anything about it? Well, Susan.
You put it in the back and you move the thread around here in a circle. You see like this. Now put your needle in there in the very same place again and the needle down there. You see that? And now don't put the thread too tight, just like that, nice and easy. And put it in outside again and continue here onto the next one. Okay? That's the game. Now continue with the next one. Read it. Here, that finished. You can start here. You start this one, read it. Good, got it. Now, show the little reader will see it. Now, easy. Now, the 3 more trebles now in there, please. 3 trebles into each hole, and 6 when you come to the corner with a chain between the 3 trebles. Well, no end. All right. Now, to finish the row here, we have 1 chain and a slip stitch through the top of the seam. You see? When you slip stitch, through that and through this. Now, 3 chain again. You see? 1 treble in there again. Now, we put a second treble in there and we can please. Now, there's somebody else.
Yes, could I try to pick up another row?
You could do another row there, Jennifer. Continue on there and do another row that you must have. Very good. Wait. You can't stop the row. Now, you finish it off. You finish the corner by putting 3 more trebles into it.
There we go. Other things can do around here,
warm. Is that fair? Everybody see it, isn't it? Now, what's the name of
called. You did that. And what's the daddy rabbit called, Sean? He's a special name too now. All the nannies and daddies of all the animals have special names. You can't remember it, can you? So, a boat, that's the good guy. So, now what's the name of all the rabbits? He's a trainer of the shoulders. Will you sing our little song about taking shoulders? Okay. And he Joe.
Don't mind the books, I'll just ask the questions out there, you know? Right, who's telling you something about Henry VIII for a start? Set the mind, set the camera, remind me. Is that?
He married Catherine of Aragon.
Any more about him in the house?
With 6 wives.
With 6 wives. How's his first wife's name? Alright?
Catherine of Aragon.
Where was she from? In? Spain. Anybody know her father and mother's name? And Berlin. Any more apart from that? What did he do? What was he famous for? Amanda?
Martin Luther left and King Henry was better to the court against.
Why did Henry VIII write to the Pope? Patrick Valley? He was a very anxious Catholic then, wasn't he? Why did he change his mind after that? Joseph?
Because he wanted a son.
He wanted his son? And what happened? And he got one, Pat Barry. So why did he want to divorce him, Pat? And what happened then? From whom though? Who gave him the divorce? Himself. So why couldn't the Pope give him the divorce? I'd often say, here's a divorce to you, that's that, finish the story. Linda? He was a Catholic. Can Catholics get a divorce to that? No. So he's there now? Yes. Everybody in England today was a nice. It's not good and it's not bad. Sorry, Francis?
No, I love him.
Fair enough, but that's his family name more than, he didn't do anything to deserve that really, but you're hard. Yeah, why do you think that's hard? No. We're talking about yesterday. Forest, isn't it? And what main trees are planted now forest today? Coniferous trees. Can you name some coniferous trees for me? Those over? They have.
I forgot that. Bye, thank you. Bye, John. See you with Bye, John. Bye, John. Bye. Bye, Kathleen. Yeah. See you on Monday. Come here.
That was a grey day. I said goodbye, old school, and you wiped the chalk from your hand and wished me joy. Searching ever, the mind moves down the dust of the years to see in the lively playground the ghost of a laughing boy. Lingers the longing always for youth's green sunlit tracks. Now the harsh old world has broken its cane on our backs.
Before 1833, no official school existed in this area. From penal times, Kiri-Lucre people were denied their education. Eventually, head schools were established. These had to be conducted in secret. The head schoolmaster conducted these schools under the threat of discovery and certain death. The students who attended them and who needed further education were required to go to the continent where Irish colleges existed, mainly to France and Spain, and many of them from this area went to study for the priesthood there. One being Father Eugene Heron of Rahila in 1730, who went on to become a noted theologian. Many more returned to work as head schoolmasters themselves. By 1800, the authorities permitted the operation of such schools. In 1830, 3 head schools were in operation in this area. One at Tremartin, run by John O'Connell, another at Clahan Cross, run by Mary Pickford, and one at Ardúchtar, run by Dennis O'Sullivan. 155 pupils were on the rolls of these 3 schools, being only a fraction of the young population of the area at that time. Reading, writing, and arithmetic were the main subjects taught through the medium of Irish. With the Education Act of 1831, public schools were encouraged on the success of the Kildare Play Society. In 1839,
Ballyduff Boys and Girls School was built south of the church on the property of Anthony Staunton. With the introduction of public schools, so too began the decline of our native language. For within 20 years of their establishment, the church was forced to conduct their sermons in English. So influential was the new school system. Today, some 250 boys and girls attend this ultra-modern school. This new school, which was built in the mid-60s and extended again in the 80s to cater for an already expanding population. The present teaching staff in this school are Paddy County, Sheila Hennessy, Maureen Flynn, Nari O'Connell, Teresa Diggins, Marion Costello, Breda O'Connor, and Norma Carroll. The principal in charge of Ballyduff Central School today is Maurice O'Connor. One of the first teachers was Pat O'Brien. He was succeeded by his son Pat and his wife Margaret Nee Scanlon. They were succeeded by Timmy Lawler and his wife Bridget. With the retirement of Jim O'Brien in the mid-60s, a link of 125 years with the O'Brien involvement in teaching in Ballyduff was severed. Principal of the girls' school was Margaret Quilter.
I taught at the Cashen for 5 years. Unfortunately, the average went down and I went on the panel. And I was transferred to a place called Clonmacon, near Lisselton, which is now closed. Then after 5 years in Clonmacon, I returned to Ballyduff Boys' School. And I was off for a few years, then I got married and I was off for a few years. And I came back again to the boys' school, and then I transferred to the girls as principal of the girls' school, and I was there from 1966 to 1982. I was principal of the girls' school for 15 years before I retired, and in that time I had many successes. I had 15 qualified teachers out of the girls that I taught. There are 15 qualified teachers, and there's a doctor, and there are innumerable nurses and civil servants.
The Cashen School, built in 1898, was the last school built in the parish. This was to serve the needs of the fishing community. It was built on land leased from the Power family, the first teacher being Margaret O'Brien Nee Scanlon. May Power Leahy taught here for many years. Jerry Allman, former INTO president, also taught here, as did Eddie Joe Herbert of Ballyduff. The Cashen children are today bused to this school at Sliwadra. In September of 1841, a proposal to build a school here was submitted. By July the following year, a 99-year lease had been obtained from Wilson Gunn and the building of the school commenced. By December 1843, the new school was completed, consisting of 2 rooms for males and 1 for females. With this, the head school on the site at Ardugta was closed and the teacher Dennis O'Sullivan moved to Sliwadra. He retired in 1850. Banny Crahur reminisces.
I'm teaching there for 30 years now and have enjoyed it. We had rough times and smooth times, and granted the school was in a bad condition until the new one was built, but we pulled through, and I think what we did was worthwhile, and the inmates sorry ar the goni an tanga gaelge the vona agus deiriglum dering agus tá gaelge ag tishmahorin the lenny atá ag tak the skull anish agus dal má lauren si there well is daish gele shin.
What you are when the
leaving home. The tears rolled down his mother's cheek as Jesus turned and waved goodbye. And Joseph was obliged to speak, but all he could do was cry.
So the door softly closes as we turn to leave our home.
Dennis O'Sullivan was replaced by Morris Neelan, who retired in 1860 when Henry McHenry took his place. Today, Irish is a popular subject in this rural school and is encouraged greatly by the teaching staff.
Is it a kind of dream floating out of the tide, following a river of death downstream, or is it a dream? There's a flutter on the horizon, a strange glow in the sky, and nobody seems to know where it goes, or what does it mean. All
Ellen Nolan O'Carroll taught here in the 1900s, as did May Best. This is the class of the 1920s when Mrs. McAllister Houlihan taught here.
how can you close and fail? How can
The present headmaster is James McAllistrom.
suddenly burn
Other teachers are Laura Banny Crahur, Mrs. Margaret Broderick, Mrs. Vida O'Dwyer, Mrs. Marion Devan.
reaching into the night, wandering over the hills unseen, or is it a dream? There's a high wind in the trees, a slow sound in the air, and
the first McHenry to teach here, with his wife Margaret, niece Dan. His son Willie was a principal here, and Willie's niece Marcella Halloran also taught here. Regina O'Connor, who has taught here, is a fourth generation McHenry. Miss County Fartill spent a lifetime teaching here. Sean Dowd was the headmaster of this school in the previous year. Ballycrossick School was opened on June the 1st, 1869. The first teacher was Tim McHenry, a brother of Henry of Sliewadra. His successors were George Scanlon, John Mulvihill, Ellen Lawler, Master Hickson and Master McSweeney. This is the class of 1912 with headmaster Andy Cregan. Other teachers who taught here were Cathy Power of the Cashen and Master Michael Galvin of Ballyduff. The present teachers are Mrs. Ina O'Connell, headmistress, Mary Lucid and Patrick O'Sullivan.